call is now being recorded.
So, good morning all. So, in the last lecture we have started chapter number, that is torsion of the circular shaft. In the previous lecture we have studied how the shaft is subjected to the torsion. Then definition of the torsion we have discussed. If the shaft under the torsion, then how it is subject to the twisting moment, and due to that particular twisting moment, how the shear stress and the shear strain induced in that particular shaft. So that part we have discussed in the last lecture. And in addition to that, whatever the assumptions made in the theory portion, that 7 to 6 assumptions we have discussed, if shaft will satisfy all assumptions, then and then only we can use that particular shaft further or further analysis. So all the assumptions we have discussed, all the assumptions, it should be satisfied by that particular. Now, in today's lecture, we will discuss or we will derive the torsion formula. So, whatever the figure is in front of you, now here we have to derive the torsion formula. What is the torsion formula? That is T upon J is tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. So this formula we have to derive, this particular formula is called as a torsion formula. So whatever the unknown parameters we have to calculate, means whatever shear stress we have to calculate, if shear strain we have to calculate, if we have to calculate the twisting moment, if we have to calculate the torque induced in that particular shaft, sometimes we have to calculate the diameter of shaft also. So to calculate all these unknown parameters, first of all, or it is necessary to derive this particular torsion formula, and by using this particular torsion formula we can find out the parameters. So for this particular torsion formula we have to consider one figure. The figure in the sense we have to consider a one shaft. So whatever the figure is in front of you, in that figure represents one shaft there. Let us consider one shaft. For example, maybe some figure is not properly visible. I will make it dark. Okay. So in that particular figure, let us consider a one shaft. That shaft is having radius R and the length L. So radius of that particular shaft, it is represented by this particular another section, or maybe this vertical distance is there from this particular center point to this particular top point. This is called as a radius of the shaft. So let us consider a one shaft having radius R and length L. These are the two parameters are given, and the shaft is subjected to the some amount of torque at free end. So whatever this right side is there, this is the free end, and whatever this particular left side is there, this is the fixed side. So let us consider a one shaft having radius R, length L, and the shaft is subjected to the T amount of torque which is applied at the right side, means the torque is applied at the free end and the another end fixed. So you can see the left side of the shaft is totally fixed. So it is fixed because we have to consider that this particular shaft is under the torsion. If the shaft is not fixed at the left and only the torque is applied at the right side, then we cannot say that under the torsion. Now, as per this particular construction, it is fixed like a cantilever structure. That means one end is fixed and another end is free, and at its another end, the T amount of torque is applied. Due to particular T amount of torque, I can say that under the torsion. Now, whatever the two figures I have drawn, so this is the first figure which is called as a longitudinal section, figure A. This figure A is called as a longitudinal section, and in front of this particular shaft, the cross section is also given, which is represented by this particular figure B. So in this particular cross section means one circular section is given. This is the center point O. The radius is also represented. So what happens before application of torque? Line perfectly straight. For example, this and this B. In the A, before application of torque T at the free end, this line perfectly straight. That means center line of that particular shaft. But if this T amount of torque is applied on that particular shaft, what happens? The distortion of material is taking place from B to B dash. The distortion of that material is taking place from B to B dash. It is represented by this particular dotted line. You can see in the figure number A. So this dotted line represents the distortion of material taking place from B to B dash, and you will get one angle. That angle is called as a phi. So these are the changes taking place in the longitudinal section. Similarly, at the right side, one more figure is there, which is called as a cross section of that particular shaft. Similar here also, point is there, that is point B. So due to this amount of torque, the torque taking place from B to, so this is the original point B, and this is the deformed point, that is B dash. This inclined line represents the radius of the shaft, and due to that particular distortion, in the cross section also, you will get one angle. That angle is called as a theta. That means in longitudinal section, the angle is represented by phi, and in the another figure, that is in the figure B, that is cross section, the angle is represented theta. So these are angles you will get in that shaft if the shaft is subjected to the torsion or if the torque is applied at the free end. Therefore, from the figure A and B, from figure A and B, so I got the two angles. Which are the? I got the two angles. Which are those angles? That is, figure you can see. Yes, maybe some due to network issue. Sometimes it is breaking, but I am trying to clearing that my voice. Okay. So from this particular figure, you can see from the figure A, I got one angle. That is, if I get that particular angle from that particular figure, so I take this B dash A B. You can see this is the B dash point. Okay. Then this is the A point near to the fixed side, and then this is the B point. So this B dash A B is equal to, you can see here, angle B dash A B is equal to phi is equal to, you know that phi is equal to shear strain. This we have written from the particular figure A. Similarly, from the figure B, you will get one more angle, which is called as a theta. In the figure B, that is cross section of that particular figure or the cross section of the shaft, you will get one angle. If I have to write that particular angle from the figure, so how I will write that? B dash O B. So this is the angle B dash O B. Write that particular angle also, that is angle B dash O B is equal to theta, is called as a is called as a angle of twist. That means the phi, it is called as a shear strain, and theta is called as a angle of twist, or it is called as a twisting movement. So these particular two angles we have written from this particular figure. Now, yes. Okay, now after writing the angle from the first figure, that is from the longitudinal section, I will generate one more formula. Let us see. From longitudinal section, that is figure A. From longitudinal section, figure A. So if I have to apply the tan phi rule, if I have to apply the tan phi is equal to, please tell me from that particular figure, what is the formula? Tan phi is equal to, what is the trigonometric rule for the tan phi? Yes, what is the trigonometric formula for the tan phi? What is the trigonometric formula for the tan phi?
BB dash divided by AB.
But formula, what is the formula? Front side upon hypotenuse or front side upon adjacent side? Yes.
Front side upon adjacent
The
side.
tan phi is equal to, yes, front side upon adjacent side, and if the phi angle is present in the figure A, so what is the front side of the phi? That is BB dash. What is the adjacent side? AB. That AB dash, it represents the hypotenuse. So from this original figure, that is from the longitudinal section, I am asking from figure only, phi is equal to B B dash upon AB. Therefore, tan phi is equal to B dash, as it is because we don't have any distance, but AB, from this particular AB or from that figure A, I can say that AB distance is represented by the length of that particular shaft. Therefore, that AB I can replace in the form of L. As here the phi is very small, as we know that phi is very small, or it is measured in radian. It is measured in radian. Therefore, whatever this particular tan sign is there, that tan sign will be neglected and you will get the formula in the form of phi. Therefore, phi is equal to B dash upon L. Why this particular phi is negligible? Because whatever the distortion is taking place from this particular B to B dash, whatever the distortion is taking place from this particular B to B dash is very negligible, and that value or distance is very small. Therefore, as it is measured in the radian, therefore whatever this particular tan is there, that tan we have neglected from this particular formula, and I have written the equation in the form of phi is equal to B dash upon L. And by rearranging the terms, I will get the value of B dash is equal to phi into L. Let us consider this is the equation number 1. Okay, so from this particular longitudinal section, from the figure A, I got the value of B dash is equal to phi into L. Similarly, from cross section of shaft, that is figure B. If I have to calculate the length of arc, you can go through this particular figure. B dash in the figure B, this B dash, it represents the arc. This is the arc. If I have to calculate the length of arc, let us see. Length of arc, I can consider B dash is equal to, what is the formula to calculate the length of arc? Can anybody tell me? If I have to calculate the length of arc from the figure B dash, what will be the formula? If I have to calculate the length of arc, what will be the formula? Okay, not possible. Okay, so the length of arc from the figure P, this B dash is called as a arc, and if I have to calculate its length, so the length of arc is equal to radius into angle. If I have to calculate the length of arc, that is B dash, that is length of arc is equal to basic formula radius into angle. So length of arc means which arc we are considering, that is B dash. What is the radius of that particular shaft? Small arc, and what is made by that particular arc? Theta. Therefore, R into theta. So length of arc B dash is R into theta, because we are having the formula length of arc is equal to into angle. So what is the radius of that particular shaft? That is small arc. To the arc, that is theta. Therefore, B dash means it represents the arc. Therefore, B dash is equal to R into theta. If I will compare equation number 1 and equation number 2, you can see from equation 1 and 2. B dash is present at the left side in equation number 1. Similarly, in equation number 2, B dash it will be present. Therefore, LHS is equal to RHS. As the left hand sides are equal, therefore their right hand sides are also becomes equal. Therefore, you will get phi into L is equal to R into theta. This is the equation number, or I will write this particular equation in the form of phi is equal to R into theta divided by L, equation number 3. So what I have done, I have compared equation number 1 and equation number 2 to each other. That B dash is same for the left side, therefore remaining two terms phi into L is equal to R into theta, and by rearranging the terms I have written the equation in the form of phi. You will get the equation number 3. Now from definition of G, capital G, it is called as a modulus of rigidity. What is the formula for the modulus? Anybody tell me what is the formula for the modulus of rigidity? Stress upon strain. This is the common formula, but which type of stress and which type of strain? Modulus of rigidity is equal to, what is the formula?
Lateral strain upon
Shear.
linear strain.
Lateral. How it is lateral? Modulus of rigidity.
Shear strain.
Stress constant. This is the common formula. Yes. Tell me.
Tau upon y.
Shear stress.
Which?
Shear strain.
Modulus of rigidity is equal to shear stress on shear strain. That is, shear stress is indicated by tau. Shear strain is indicated by phi. Therefore, modulus of rigidity is equal to stress upon shear strain. Please keep in mind, capital E, Young's modulus is equal to stress upon linear strain, and bulk modulus K is equal to volumetric stress upon volumetric strain. Please keep in mind, the modulus of rigidity is equal to shear stress upon shear strain. Shear stress is indicated by tau. Shear strain is indicated by the phi. Now, from particular formula, if I will rearrange the terms, that is, if I will write the equation in the form of phi, phi is equal to tau upon G. Equation number 4. So, what I have done, I have written the formula of modulus of rigidity is equal to shear stress upon shear strain. That is, capital G is equal to tau upon phi. So that phi I have taken left side, and this G I have taken to the right side, and I got the formula in the form of phi is equal to tau upon G. So we are having the equation. Let us see. Phi is equal to R theta divided by L as the equation number 3, and another formula, phi is equal to tau upon G as the equation number 4. Again, from equation 3 and 4. From equation 3 and 4, that is, left hand side is equal to right hand side. Left hand side is equal to right hand side. So left hand side, again, which terms are common? This phi at the left side. Therefore, your right hand sides are also become equal. Therefore, R theta divided by L is equal to tau upon G. R theta divided is equal to tau upon G. And if I will rearrange that particular term as per our requirement, that is, tau upon R is equal to d theta by L. What I have taken? This tau is present at the right side. This R is present at the left side. If this R I will take to this particular right side, it becomes divide. Therefore, I got the equation tau upon R. This G is present at the denominator. If I will take this particular G to the left side, it will get divide and it will go to the numerator. Therefore, you get the equation in the form of tau upon R is equal to G theta by. Let us assume that this is the equation number 5. What I have written upon R is equal to G theta by L. Let us wait. Okay, so tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. That means one term we are having the torsion formula. Please see the torsion formula. Tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. So this is the torsion formula. Tau upon R is equal to L. That means one term we have derived particular figure number A and figure number B. But as we know that the always, let us see, torque is always maximum at outer radius. The torque is always maximum at outer radius. That is, I can consider the outer radius as a capital R. Therefore, the same formula I have written in the form of tau upon capital R is equal to g theta by L. This is the equation number 6. So what is the difference between equation number 5 and equation number 6? In equation number 5, this R represents the radius of shaft, which is represented by the small r. But always we know that the torque is always maximum at the outer radius, and that outer radius can be represented by the capital R. Maybe shaft is solid, maybe shaft hollow. That torque is always maximum at the outer radius only. Therefore, this small r is replaced by the capital R only. Therefore, get one, that is tau upon R is equal to g theta by L. So that this is the equation number 6, and that equation number 5 or equation number 6 we have obtained from this particular two figures. Which are the two figures? That is from the longitudinal section of the shaft and from the cross section of that particular shaft. Okay, so this is the one term we have derived, that is tau upon R is equal to g theta by L. Now we have to derive some another term also. We have to derive one another term also. That just wait. I was disconnected, so my screen is visible, not visible, I think, no? Whether my is visible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, now it is visible. Please check.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we have derived the equation number 5. So whatever I have written here, the equation number 5 and the equation number 6. So this is the equation number 5 we have derived and the equation number 6. So tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. So that means one term we have derived, that is P upon J is equal to theta by L. But we only one term, tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. That one term we have derived. Now we have to start with the another part. Now in order to derive the remaining part of that particular derivations, we have to consider the second figure. So what that particular figure indicates? So now we have to consider the second figure. The second figure is in front of you. That what that figure indicates. Yes, maybe in between some voice is breaking due to some network issue. So I have to correct it. Now the second figure. So what that particular second figure indicates? Let us consider one elemental ring. Let us consider one elemental ring having radius r and the area dA. So if you go through this particular figure, this outer line, whatever this particular outer circle is there, this outer circle represents this particular outer circle. It represents the outer circle represents the original diameter of the shaft or original shaft. Okay, and in that particular shaft we have considered a one elemental ring. There is one elemental ring which is represented by the hatching lines. We can see here in that particular figure one more elemental ring is there. It is represented by the hatching line. This is the elemental ring. Okay, so that elemental ring is having the radius as a small r and it is having the cross-sectional area dA. So that elemental ring is having the radius r and the cross-sectional area dA. So why this particular elemental ring we have considered? Because whatever the remaining derivations we have to derive. So in order to derive that particular derivation, we are calculating the derivation for that particular elemental ring, and as that elemental ring, whatever we have considered, that elemental ring is the part of our shaft. So whatever the shaft we have considered for the derivation purpose, in the same shaft we have considered even elemental ring. Now initially we are deriving the derivation for that particular elemental ring, and whatever the answer, whatever the derivation we got, that same derivation, that same answer we are going to consider for the shaft also. Now from the equation number 5, we have derived one formula. What is our equation number 5? You can see here, tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. So I will take that particular equation as it is. Tau upon r is equal to g theta by L, equation number 5. Tau upon r is equal to g theta by L, equation number 5. And I will write that particular equation in the form of tau only. Tau is equal to g theta by L into r. Equation number 7. I have written the equation in the form of tau only, that r I have taken at the right side. Therefore, I got the equation in the form of g theta by L into r. Let us give the equation number 7. Now, if I have to calculate the force on that particular elemental ring, whatever this tau we have calculated as the equation number 7, that equation number 7 represents the shear stress induced in the elemental ring. What that equation number 7 represents? That is tau means shear stress induced in the elemental ring or shear stress induced in the total shaft. Because elemental ring and the shaft both are related to each other, because elemental ring is the part of that particular shaft. Therefore, whatever the shear stress induced in that particular elemental ring, same shear stress will be induced in that particular shaft. But just for your further derivation, I can say that this equation number 7 or this particular tau, it represents the stress or the shear stress induced in that particular elemental ring. And by using that particular shear stress, if I have to calculate the force, let us see, force on elemental ring, it will be indicated by dF. Let us assume that dF. Therefore, force on the elemental ring, force is equal to stress into area. We know that force is equal to stress into area. Let us assume that, for example, mass circular, sigma is equal to P upon A. Sigma is equal to P upon A. And if I have to calculate the P, capital P is equal to sigma into A. That A I have taken to the left side. Therefore, force is equal to stress into area. Similarly, here also I have used the formula force on the elemental ring, that is dF is equal to stress into area, and dF is equal to stress on the elemental ring. Already we have calculated by using the equation number 7. So I will write down G theta by L into R into area of elemental ring is represented by the figure. What is that particular area? dA, that is D into A. I have written this particular from equation number 7. What I have taken, force on the elemental ring is equal to stress of that particular ring into area of that particular ring. So stress already we have calculated by using the equation number 7. So G theta by L into R, and the area of that particular ring is represented by the figure, that is dA. So this is the force on the elemental ring. If now torque on elemental ring, it can be indicated by dt, torque on the elemental ring. So we are having the formula. What is the formula for the torque? In the first lecture we have discussed. What is the formula for the torque? Torque is equal to
force into displacement.
Yes, force into perpendicular distance. It is very important. Torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. And if I have to calculate this particular torque, force already we have calculated by using the previous equation dF. Force already we have calculated. dF is equal to how much? You can see here. Force is equal to G theta by L into R into dA into perpendicular distance. What is the perpendicular distance? Please tell me. What will be the perpendicular distance? The distance between torque and that particular radius of the shaft. The distance between torque and the radius of shaft, or that particular center point. You can see here. This is the center point. This is the end, and that particular perpendicular distance is also represented by the radius of shaft. Therefore, the perpendicular distance between torque and that particular center will be the small r only. Therefore, you will get the equation dt is equal to G theta by L into 2 times small r is present, this r and this r. Therefore, you will get the r square into d. So what I have done initially, I have calculated the shear stress, that is tau is equal to G theta by L, that is equation number 7. Same shear stress I have considered for the elemental ring. Now force on elemental ring, force is equal to stress into area. Stress is given, area is given delta A. You will get this particular equation. Then second, torque on the elemental ring, it is represented by dt. Torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force already we have calculated by using the previous equation. Perpendicular distance is again represented by the small r, and you will get the equation dt is equal to G theta by L into r square into d. Okay. Now integrating above equation. Therefore, integration of dt. This G theta by L, this is the constant term. G theta by L, this is the constant term. So there, this G theta by L, this is the constant term. So it will take their integration will not be taken. G theta by L, it is a constant, and integration of R square into dA. So what I have taken? I have taken the integration of that particular above equation. Therefore, integration of dt, which is equal to G theta by L. This is the constant term. It is not possible to take the integration of constant. Therefore, G theta by L we have taken, and integration of R square into dA. But the integration of R square into dA is equal to your J, which is equal to polar moment of inertia. Direct value is given. Integration of R square into dA, whatever this particular term is present in that particular equation, integration of R square into dA is equal to tau is equal to polar moment of inertia. Integration of dt, what you will get? You will get the capital T. G theta by L, this is the constant, and integration of R square into dA means you will get the J. That is, capital T is equal to G theta by L into J, which is called as a polar moment of inertia. And from this particular equation, if I will rearrange the terms, if this J I will take to this particular left side, so I got the equation that is T upon J is equal to G theta by L. Let us assume that this is the equation number 8, and already we are having the equation number 6. What that particular equation number 6? Tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. This is the equation number 6. Equation number 8, just now we have got by rearranging the terms, that J I have taken to the left side, therefore it will get divided. Therefore, T upon J is equal to G theta by L, equation number 8. And already from the longitudinal section, from the previous two figures, we are having the equation number 6. Tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. Again here, the right hand sides are equal. G theta by L is present, G theta by L is present. Therefore, your left hand sides are also becomes equal. Therefore, you will get the equation tau upon T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. And this represents your torsion formula. What I have taken, I have compared the equation number 6 and equation number 8 to each other. Their right hand sides are equal. Which are the terms? G theta by L is present at the right side in the equation 8. In the equation number 6 also, G theta by L term is present. Therefore, right hand sides are equal. Therefore, LHS is equal to RHS. Therefore, right hand sides are also become equal. Therefore, I have written the final equation, that is T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. In that, this capital T represents the torque, which is always in Newton mm. J represents polar moment of inertia. Tau represents shear stress. Tau represents shear stress. R represents radius of shaft. G represents rigidity. Theta, angle of twist. Theta, angle of twist, and L, length of shaft. Length of that particular shaft. So this will be your final derivation, that is T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. So please keep in mind what we have taken or what we have done in this particular derivation, that is from the starting point only we are having this particular two figures. One is the longitudinal section. This is the figure number 1, longitudinal section. This is the figure number 2, cross section. From that particular figures, what we have done, we have taken the two formulas, two angles we have taken, that is phi angle and theta angle. That phi is called as a shear strain and that theta is called as an angle of twist. And from the first figure, figure A, what we have done, we have applied the tan rule. Tan phi is equal to front side upon adjacent side. So front side BB dash divided by adjacent side AB, and I have written the formula BB dash upon L. But that phi is very small, it is measured in the radian, therefore this tan is replaced by only phi, and I have written the equation number 1 in the form of BB dash. Similarly, from the second figure, I have calculated the length of arc, and if I have to calculate the length of that particular arc, we are having the formula length of arc is equal to radius into angle. So length of arc means BB dash, radius r, angle is theta. Equation number 2, I have compared equation 1 and 2 to each other, that is you will get the phi in the form of equation number 3. Then by using the definition of modulus of rigidity, capital G is equal to shear stress upon shear strain, I have written the equation in the form of phi. After comparison of equation number 3 and equation number 4, after comparison of equation number 3 and equation number 4, I have written the left hand sides and right hand sides are equal. I have written the equation number 5, tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. Here radius is represented by the small r, but always we know that the torque is always maximum at the outer radius. Therefore, the small r is replaced by the capital R. Therefore, tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. This is the equation number 6. We have derived the equation number 6. Please keep in mind. Now, for further derivation, we have considered a one elemental ring. For the further derivation, we have considered a one elemental ring, and that ring is having the radius r and the cross-sectional area dA. Already from the equation number 5, we have calculated the shear stress induced in the shaft. And from the equation number 5, that is tau is equal to g theta by L into r. Equation number 7 I have written here. That tau represents the shear stress induced in the shaft as well as shear stress induced in the elemental ring. The ringचा shear stress माहित असेल, त्याचा cross sectional area माहित असेल, then we can calculate the force on the elemental ring. Therefore, BF I have calculated here. Stress multiplied by the cross sectional area. Then जर force माहित असेल, त्याचा perpendicular distance माहित असेल, then I can calculate the torque. Where we are having the formula for the torque. Torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force already आपण काढलेला आहे. त्या फोर्सला perpendicular distance म्हणजे small r न मल्टिप्लाय केलं, you will get the equation dt is equal to g theta by L into r square into dA. Again, we have integrating that particular equation. Therefore, integration of dt is equal to g theta by L. Constant आहे. Integration of r square into dA. पण तुम्हाला माहित आहे डायरेक्ट व्हॅल्यू त्यांनी दिलेलं आहे. इंटिग्रेशन ऑफ r square into dA is equal to j, which is called as a polar moment of inertia. Therefore, integration of dt means capital T, g theta by L, constant term, and integration of r square into dA means your j, and then that j I have taken to the left side, so I got the equation number 8. What is that particular equation number 8? T upon j is equal to g theta by L, and already we are having the equation number 6. What is that? Tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. Left hand sides are equal, g theta by L, g theta by L. Therefore, right hand sides are equal. Therefore, left hand sides are also becomes equal. And finally, I have written the final equation by comparing the equation number 6 and equation number 8. T upon j is equal to tau upon r is equal to g theta by L. So that particular final equation is called as a torsion formula. T means torque, Newton mm. J means polar moment of inertia. Its unit is mm raised to 4. Mm raised to 4. Shear stress Newton per mm square. Radius mm. Modulus of rigidity Newton per mm square. Angle theta. Sometimes it is calculated in degree. Sometimes it is calculated in radian. And last one is a length. It is in mm. So this particular formula is called as a torsion formula. Have understood this particular derivation, how it is derived, how the first part is derived, and how the second part is derived from this particular elemental ring. Have you understood this particular part? Anybody is having any problem? Yes? No problem. Yeah. So this derivation part is very, very important. Maybe in the examinations, now it is maybe online examination is there, but there is some MCQ questions are also there based on this particular derivation. So what will be the torsion formula? So the 4 options will be given to you by rearranging the sum of the terms, but out of that particular 4 options, we have to choose the correct option. Please keep in mind this formula should be at your tip of tongue. T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L, because by using this particular single formula only, we have to solve the numericals. There is no any other problem, or there is no any other formula. By using this particular formula only, we have to solve the numericals. So I hope you have taken this particular derivation part in your notebook. So in the notes I will give, no problem, but while solution, while deriving this particular problem, while deriving this particular derivation, it is your responsibility also. Please try to take this particular derivations in your notebooks, so it will be becomes very easy to understood you whatever you have written. So please try to take this particular derivation part in your notebook also, so you can understood very easily. So this is the derivation of the torsion formula. Only one derivation is there in this particular chapter, that is torsion formula. T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. I hope everyone has understood. If anybody has not understood, please ask me. I will repeat that particular part once again. Anybody is there who have not understood this particular derivation part? It is very simple. By using the first 2 figures, half derivation is derived, and by the remaining figure, that elemental ring, the another part of the derivation is derived, and after that, the first part and second part we have compared with each other, and from that you will get the final equation. T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. Now, please, anybody is having any problem, you can ask me. I will repeat the things once again. Okay, no problem. Can we move to the next part then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here we are going to discuss some of the 2 important theoretical parts. Strength of the shaft. Strength of the shaft. What is meant by the strength of the shaft? When we can say that the strength of that particular shaft is very high. As we know that the shaft is one of the rotating element. The shaft is one of the rotating element which transmit the power from one rotating element to the another rotating element. So for example, what we are doing, there is one shaft is there, that shaft is in rotating condition, and the rotation of that particular shaft or power of that particular shaft we have to transmit to the another shaft. So what we are using, sometimes we are using the chain drive, we are using the belt drive, we are using the gears in between these particular shafts, and the power is transmitted from one rotating element to the another rotating element. Okay, so during that particular power transmission, during that particular energy transmission, the strength of that particular shaft should be high. During that particular transmission of power or during the transmission of that particular energy from one rotating element to the another rotating element, the shaft should have maximum amount of strength, and if that particular shaft transmit the power without any plastic deformation, if the shaft, for example, this is the shaft number 1 and this is the shaft number 2, here I have written, so this is the shaft number 1, this is the shaft number 2, if the power is transmitted from this particular shaft number 1 to this particular shaft number 2 without any plastic deformation, there is no any deformation, there is no any twisting will be taking place in this particular shaft number 1, no any twisting will be taking place in the shaft number 2, that means without any deformation, without any twisting, if the power transmission will be taking place from one element to the another element, then we can say that the strength of that particular shaft is very, very high. But during the power transmission, if the twisting of any shaft is taking place, for example, shaft number 1, it is rotating properly, no problem, but if this shaft number 1 is transmitting the power to the shaft number 2, and during that transmission, if there is some twisting will be taking place in this particular shaft number 2, then we can say that the strength of that particular shaft number 2 is not very high, because during power transmission the failure will be taking place. So when we can say that the strength of the shaft is very high, while transmitting the power from one rotating element to the another rotating element, and that power transmission or that particular torque transmission will be taking place without any deformation, without any twisting, then we can say that the strength of that particular shaft is very, very high. And if we have to measure the strength of solid shaft and the strength of hollow shaft, we are calculating their torque transmission capacity or power transmission capacity. If I have to check the strength of solid shaft, I will check their torque transmission capacity and I will check their power transmission capacity. Similarly, if I have to check the strength of the hollow shaft, again for the hollow shaft also, I will check their torque transmission capacity and the power transmission capacity. If, for example, now the figure is in front of you, strength of the solid shaft. So if the solid shaft is designed for 100 Newton mm, if this particular solid shaft is designed to transmit the torque up to the 100 Newton mm, that means this particular shaft can transmit the torque 95, 90, 85, 60, 15, 20. So whatever the values less than 100, that torque can be easily transmit. But if that torque can extend up to the 110 Newton mm, then there may be possibility of failure. Limit is to transmit the torque up to the 100 Newton mm only, because that shaft is designed to transmit the power up to the 100 Newton mm only. But we are transmitting 110, means there may be possibility of failure. Therefore, if I have to check the strength of the solid shaft, or if I have to check the strength of hollow shaft, I am checking, or I have to check their torque transmission capacity. Similarly, if I have to check the strength of the hollow shaft, again for the hollow shaft also I have to check their torque transmitting capacity. And if I have to check the strength of the solid shaft, then I am having the formula capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. So please keep this particular formula in your mind, or please take this particular part in your notebook also. What this particular formula represents? This formula represents the torque transmitting capacity or strength of the solid shaft. T means torque transmitting capacity, pi by 16. This is the constant parameter. Tau max represents the maximum shear stress induced in the solid shaft. And d cube, capital D means only one diameter is there for the solid shaft. Which diameter? Only one diameter, that is outside diameter. Therefore, it is represented by the capital D and that's a cube. Therefore, capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. This formula represents the torque transmission capacity of solid shaft, or by using this formula, we can check the strength of the solid shaft. So please put the heading in your notebook, strength of the solid shaft. Draw this particular figure and write down this particular formula directly, that is capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. You are having the derivation of this particular formula also, but here the derivation part is not required. The derivation part is not required. So here directly I am giving the formula capital T is equal to, that is torque transmission of the solid shaft is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. Based on this particular part, 101% one MCQ based question will be there. Simple formula, simple statement. Torque transmission capacity of the solid shaft is represented by. So the four options will be given in the form of T. Maybe T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. Second option, pi by 32 into tau max into d square. Pi by 64 into tau max into d raised to 4. So like that, four options will be given, and from that particular four options, we have to choose the correct option as a pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. So please take this particular formula in your notebook. For solving the numericals also, we have to take this particular formula, or we have to use this particular formula. Similarly, strength of the hollow shaft. Similarly, strength of the hollow shaft. Again, here also we are having the separate formula, that is strength of the hollow shaft. Again, it is represented by the capital T. Therefore, capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into, in bracket, do raised to 4 minus di raised to 4 divided by do. This is the formula for the torque transmitting capacity for the hollow shaft. Because in case of a hollow shaft, hollow means it is hollow in cross sectional. It is having the two diameters. One is the external diameter, another is the internal diameter. Therefore, do represents outside or outer diameter, and di represents internal diameter. Di represents the internal diameter. The formula is written: the torque transmitting capacity for the hollow shaft is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into do raised to 4 minus di raised to 4 is present at the numerator, and at the denominator you will get only do. Please understand the basic difference between the solid shaft and the hollow shaft. Solid साठी formula काय बघा, T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max. Pi by 16 into tau max, it is common for the solid shaft as well as hollow shaft. Only difference is that their diameters. In solid shaft, only d cube term is there. Pi by 16 into tau max into d cube only. But in case of a hollow shaft, as the two diameters are present, therefore this pi by 16 into tau max, it is common, but the next term is multiplied by do raised to 4, means outside diameter raised to 4, minus di raised to 4, means minus internal diameter raised to 4, divided by do, means outer or outside diameter only. So by using this particular formula number 1 and by using this particular formula number 2, I can directly check the torque transmission of solid shaft and the torque transmission of hollow shaft. Means we are checking the strength of the shaft. बघा, आपल्याला शाफ्टची जर स्ट्रेंथ चेक करायची असेल तर आपण त्याचा टेन्साइल स्ट्रेस, कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह स्ट्रेस मेजर करायची गरज नाही. इफ वी कॅन मेजर देअर टॉर्क ट्रान्समिशन कॅपॅसिटी, सॉलिड शाफ्ट किती टॉर्क ट्रान्समिट करतोय किंवा हॉलो शाफ्ट किती टॉर्क ट्रान्समिट करतोय, तो टॉर्क आपण काढतोय, म्हणजे आपण काय करतोय, त्या सॉलिड शाफ्टची किंवा त्या हॉलो शाफ्टची आपण स्ट्रेंथ चेक करतोय. तर स्ट्रेंथ चेक करण्यासाठी आपण इथं कुठला पॅरामीटर काढतोय, तर त्या शाफ्टचा काय करतोय, तर torque काढतोय. So for calculating the torque of the solid shaft, we are having the direct formula pi by 16 into tau max into d cube, and to calculate the torque of the hollow shaft, again we are having the direct formula pi by 16 into tau max into do raised to 4 minus di raised to 4 divided by do. So please take this particular two formulas in your notebook. Strength of the solid shaft, capital T is equal to strength of the hollow shaft, capital T is equal to, and based on this particular two formulas, 101% one MCQ question will be there in your examination. So please keep in mind, torsion formula should be at your tip of tongue. T upon G is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. In addition to that, strength of the solid shaft is represented by the following formula. Four options will be given. The strength of the hollow shaft is given by, four options will be given. From that particular four options, we have to choose the correct option. Therefore, all these particular three formulas should be at your tip of. notebook, upon J, already we have here, and in these two formulas, get the strength of solid shaft T is equal
Sir, voice is breaking.
to of is it. Yes, side Omkar means to yourself.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, okay. Now it is clear, we check. Now it is clear, please check. Maybe some network problem in between. Okay. Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
With my screen, please check. Yes, my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Sir, again voice is breaking.
So this is the strength of the solid and the strength of hollow shaft. Capital T is equal to yes. Just I will clear the things. Okay. Now please check. Is it audible properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so these are the two formulas just now we have discussed. Capital T is equal to for the solid shaft, capital T is for the hollow shaft. Okay, have taken this particular formulas in your notebook. Please keep in mind. We are calculating the torque means we are checking the strength of that particular shaft, and the strength of the shaft is always calculated by measuring their torque transmission capacity, or sometimes by measuring their power transmission capacity. But instead of measuring the power, here we are having the two separate formulas for the solid shaft as well as for the hollow shaft. Capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max. Same condition, only difference is there in their diameters. Okay. Now we will start with the numericals. So the type number one, the problems on torque and the power transmission by the shaft. The problems on torque and the power transmitted by the shaft. That means we have to calculate. Sometimes we have to calculate T. We have to calculate the capital T means torque. Sometimes we have to calculate the capital P means power transmission capacity. Also, we have to calculate the shear stress induced in that particular shaft. So this much 3 parameters, 3 to 4 parameters we have to calculate it. We have to calculate from this particular type number 1. So what are the important formulas? The first formula you can see here, just now we have derived torsion formula, T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. Please keep in mind the torsion formula, and in that particular torsion formula, whatever the capital T is there, that capital T is always equal to T max. Please keep in mind, whatever the torque is represented in the torsion formula, same torque is also called as a maximum torque induced in that particular shaft. Second formula, what is the second formula? Power formula. P is equal to 2 pi n T upon 60. Everyone know about this particular formula. Power formula is equal to 2 pi n T upon 60. In that, this P represents the power. 2 pi is the constant parameter. N represents speed of the shaft. N is given like this, 100 RPM. N is equal to 300 RPM. Like that, this capital N represents the speed of that particular shaft. Again, the T is present, this capital T represents the torque of that particular shaft, and this T is equal to your T mean. Understand the difference? Torsion formula मध्ये जो काय कॅपिटल टी आहे त्या टी ला आपण काय म्हणतो? मॅक्सिमम टॉर्क म्हणतो. आणि पॉवरच्या फॉर्म्युल्यामध्ये पण प्रत्येक टी आहे 2 pi n T upon 60. That T is called as a mean torque. Understand the difference between the maximum torque and the mean torque. Mean torque is calculated for the particular power only. For example, 300 किलोवॅट तुम्हाला पॉवर दिलेला असेल, तर त्या 300 किलोवॅटला किती टॉर्क येतोय तो म्हणजे तुमचा काय झाला? मीन टॉर्क झाला. If you will get the power 200 kilowatt, for example 100 kilowatt, for each and every power, how much amount of torque is there? That torque is called as a mean torque. But in case of a torsion formula, whatever the capital T is there, that capital T is called as a maximum torque. Maximum torque means it is the maximum value of the torque that up to that particular torque the shaft can sustain, or the maximum torque transmission capacity. For example, if one shaft is having the torque transmission capacity up to 100 Newton mm only, म्हणजे तो शाफ्ट काय करतोय 100 Newton mm इथपर्यंत टॉर्क ट्रान्समिशन इझिली ट्रान्समिट करू शकतोय. पण जर तुम्ही तो 100च्या वर जर इन्क्रीज केला, 110 केला, shaft will get break. Why? Because that torque is having the maximum limit up to 100 Newton mm only. 100च्या आधी 95, 90, 85, 85, 65 up to 100, that shaft can easily transmit. But if your torque is increases beyond the 100 Newton mm, means it crosses their maximum limit and the shaft will get break. Therefore, the torque in the torsion formula is represented by the T max, and the torque in the power formula is represented by the mean torque. And how to calculate mean torque? By using the power is given, speed is given, we can calculate the torque. So please keep in mind this particular condition is very important. The capital T represented in the torsion formula is called as a maximum torque, and the capital T represented in the power formula is called as a mean torque. Mean torque is calculated by using the given power, given speed, and the torque from the torsion formula. It will be calculated by using that particular torsion formula only. Okay. Then one more thing. In the power formula, if I will keep that particular power in watt, if I will keep that particular power in watt, then whatever the torque I will calculate, it will be in Newton meter only. बघा, फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्हाला 300 किलोवॅट पॉवर दिलेला आहे, त्या 300 किलोवॅट तुम्ही काय करणार, 300 × 10⁻³ म्हणजे काय केलं, वॅट मध्ये कन्वर्ट केलं. 2π इज द कॉन्स्टंट पॅरामीटर. स्पीड फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्हाला 200 दिलेला आहे आणि टी तुम्हाला काढायचा आहे. तर हे कॅल्क्युलेशन केल्यानंतर जो काय तुम्हाला टी मिळतोय इट विल बी इन न्यूटन मीटर ओनली. प्लीज कीप इन माइंड. In the power formula, if I will put the value of power in watt, speed that is capital N in RPM, whatever the unknown torque I got, that torque will be in Newton meter only. तर त्या न्यूटन मीटरला आपल्याला अजून 10⁻³ ने काय करावं लागणार, मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागणार आणि तो टॉर्क आपल्याला न्यूटन MM मध्ये काय करावं लागणार, कन्वर्ट करावं लागणार. So please keep in mind, if the power is in watt, whatever the T you will get from that particular formula, it will be in Newton meter only. So once again we have to multiply by 10⁻³ and we have to convert in Newton mm. So these are about the torsion formula and the power formula. Then J, torsion formula मध्ये आपल्याला J put up करावा लागतो. J means polar moment of inertia. What is the formula for the solid shaft? Capital J is equal to π/32 into d⁻⁴. The formula I have written. J means polar moment of inertia. For the solid shaft, formula is written π/32 into d⁻⁴. For the hollow shaft, π/32 do⁴ minus di⁴. So please take this particular all the formulas in your notebook. First formula, torsion formula. Second formula, power formula. P is equal to 2π NT / 60. Then polar moment of inertia for the solid shaft. How much? π/32 into d⁻⁴, because only one diameter is there for the solid shaft. For the hollow shaft, two diameters are there. Do means outer diameter, di means inner diameter. So J is equal to π/32 into do⁴ minus di⁴ for the hollow shaft. Then next formula, torque transmitted. Just now we have discussed torque transmitted by the solid shaft. T is equal to π/16 into tau max into d³ for the solid shaft. And second formula for the hollow shaft, capital T is equal to π/16 into tau max into do⁴ minus di⁴ divided by do for the hollow shaft. That means torque transmission capacity, or if I have to check the strength of the solid shaft and the strength of the hollow shaft, I am having the separate formula to find out their torque. So total how many formulas are there? Torsion formula number 1, power formula number 2, then polar moment of inertia for the solid shaft, formula number 3, polar moment of inertia for the hollow shaft, formula number 4, torque transmission capacity of solid shaft, formula number 5, and torque transmission capacity for the hollow shaft, formula number 6. So these are the 6 formulas we have to use in the type number 1, in which we have to solve the numericals based on the calculation of torque, calculation of power, calculation of shear stress. So this is about the type number 1. Take this particular all the formulas, torsion formula, power formula. In the torsion formula, capital T means T max. In power formula, capital T means T min. If power is in watt, you will get the torque in Newton meter only. परत आपल्याला त्याला 10⁻³ ने काय करावं लागणार आहे, मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागणार आहे. Then polar moment of inertia, J. Polar moment of inertia is indicated by J. त्याचे फॉर्म्युले 2 आहेत. π/32 d⁻⁴, π/32 do⁴ minus di⁴. आणि टॉर्क ट्रान्समिशन कॅपॅसिटी, 2 टॉर्कचे फॉर्म्युला पण आपल्याला दिलेले आहेत. हॅव यू टेकन दिस पर्टिक्युलर फॉर्म्युलाज इन युअर नोटबुक फॉर सॉल्विंग द न्यूमेरिकल्स?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll start with the first numerical. Very simple numerical is there. So I will read the statement. We will write down the given parameters and then we will solve. So this is the problem number 1. Very simple numericals are there for the type number 1. Find the torque which a solid shaft 50 mm diameter. Find the torque for which the solid shaft 50 mm diameter can safely transmit the shear stress not to exceed 180 Newton per mm square. Find a torque whatever the torque we have to calculate the torque for that particular solid shaft. Type of shaft, it is also mentioned in the statement. For which shaft we have to calculate the torque? Solid shaft. Okay, that solid shaft is having diameter 50 mm and it can safely transmit the shear stress not to exceed. So whatever the shear stress is induced in that particular solid shaft is 180 Newton per mm square. So if I will write down the given parameters, solid shaft is given काय दिलेला आहे? Solid shaft, their diameter capital D is equal to how much? 50 mm. It can transmit the shear stress not to exceed. Please tell me, not to exceed. What is the meaning of not to exceed? Means which shear stress is given? Shear stress not to exceed 180 Newton per mm square. Not to exceed. What is the meaning of not to exceed? म्हणजे कुठला shear stress दिलेला असेल?
Tau max.
टाउ मॅक्स. नॉट टू एक्सीड म्हणजे त्याच्यावर तुमचा एक्सीड झाला नाही पाहिजे, म्हणजे ती काय तुमचं एक मॅक्सिमम लिमिट आहे. नॉट टू एक्सीड मीन्स इट रिप्रेझेंट्स द मॅक्सिमम लिमिट ऑफ दॅट पर्टिक्युलर शाफ्ट. मीन्स टाउ मॅक्स इज इक्वल टू 180 Newton per mm square. And we have to calculate the torque transmission capacity. Torque is equal to. So which formula I can use? We are having the formula.
Torque is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube.
Yes, correct. Capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. So pi by 16 is the constant parameter, tau max 180 and dq means 50 cube. Therefore, you will get the torque value in Newton mm only, because maximum shear stress is given in the form of Newton per mm square. The diameter is given 50 mm. It is already given in mm. So whatever you will get the answer, torque is equal to. Do the calculations and represent the answer in the chat box. What will be the torque?
4.41 into 10 raised to 6.
Yes, 4.41 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Unit is very important. .41 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Very simple formula is there. Very simple numerical is there. Diameter is given. Shear stress is given. But for giving the shear stress, they have mentioned one word, not to exceed. Not to exceed means it represents the maximum limit of that particular shaft. That means that shaft can sustain the stress up to 180 Newton per mm square only. Up to 180 Newton per mm square means it represents the maximum. Therefore, tau max is equal to 180. And as type of shaft is mentioned as a solid shaft, we are having the direct formula T. Therefore, we have calculated the capital T is equal to 4.41 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. So this value represents the torque transmission capacity of the solid shaft. Means here we are checking the strength of the solid shaft. Calculation of torque means we are checking the strength of the solid shaft. Yes, 4.41 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. This is the correct answer. Within 1 or 2 steps only you will get the final answer, but only important thing is that we have to remind the formula. We have to read the statement carefully. Which type of shaft is given and which types of the given parameters are there. So this we can easily calculate. Therefore, this particular type number 1 is very, very simple. Okay, have you calculated? Everyone, you have to calculate it and represent your answer in the chat box. Only 2 to 3 students are solving it and they are representing the answers. What about others? I think they are not doing the calculations. Okay, I hope everyone has calculated. Now we'll move to the next problem. So I will read the statement and then we will solve. Find the power that can be, yes, now everyone is representing 4.41 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Now we'll discuss about the second numerical. Find the power that can be transmitted by the shaft of 60 mm diameter. Only one diameter is given sometimes. The solid shaft, like that words are not mentioned. But how many diameters are given? From that only also we can identify that which types of the shaft is given, whether solid is given or whether hollow is given. Now here, find the power that can be transmitted by the shaft of 60 mm diameter and rotating at 180 rpm if tau max is equal to 85 Newton per mm square. So here in this particular formula, in this particular statement, we have to calculate the power transmitted by that particular shaft. Having diameter 60 mm means only one diameter is mentioned, means whatever the shaft is there, it is a solid shaft. That shaft is having diameter 60 mm and it is rotating at 180 rpm. तो shaft कितने rotate होते हैं? 180 rpm में rotate होते हैं. And the maximum shear stress induced in that particular solid shaft is 85 Newton per mm square. Okay, so first of all, we'll write down the given parameters. D is equal to 60 mm. Which shaft is there? Solid shaft is there. Then rotating at 180 means capital N is given. How much? 180 rpm. Tau max is given. How much? 85 Newton per mm square. And what we have to calculate? We have to calculate the power transmitted by that shaft. So I will write down the formula. P is equal to 2 pi nt upon 60. Power I have to calculate. To calculate the power, 2 into pi. This is a constant parameter. Okay. Capital N, speed, it is given. But to calculate the power, the torque is not given. To calculate that particular power, the three parameters are there already, but the torque is not given. Therefore, before calculation of power, first of all, we have to calculate the torque. So how to calculate the torque? Please tell me how to calculate the torque. Which formula I have to use?
Pi by 16 into tau max into d cube.
Again the same formula, because solid shaft is given, pi by 16 into tau max into d cube. Put the values. Capital T is equal to pi by 16 into tau max. How much it is given? 85 into diameter cube means 60 cube. So you will get the torque is equal to. Find out the torque.
3.59 into 10 raised to 6.
Yes, 3.59 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Please keep in mind. Newton mm. 3.59 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. And as per our earlier discussion, if I have to calculate the power in watt, that torque should be in Newton meter. If I have to calculate the power in watt, in the power formula, whatever the torque is there, that torque should be in Newton meter only. Therefore, what will be the value for the Newton meter? .59 into What will be the value for the Newton meter? If I have to calculate the power in the power formula, I have to put the torque value in a Newton meter only. But whatever the value you got, it is in Newton mm. If I have to convert the Newton mm to Newton meter, which value I have to consider? 3.59 into 10 raised to how much?
3.
Yes.
3.
10 raised to 3 Newton meter. Therefore, P I have to calculate in watt. So 2 into pi into N 180 into 3.59 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 60. So you will get the power. What will be the answer? Power is equal to
67.66 into 10 raised to 3.
67.66 into 10 raised to 3. It is in watt, correct? And 67 kilowatt. .67.
67.85, sir.
67.85.
67.85. Okay. Okay, 67.85. 67.85 into 10 raised to 3 watt. If I will write down the same answer in kilowatt, you will get only 67.85. Because here, if power is in watt, then torque should be in Newton meter only. Please take this particular note in your notebook. If I have to calculate the power in watt, your torque should be in Newton meter only. If you take this particular Newton mm value as it is for the power calculation, your power answer will be wrong. Therefore, try to convert that particular torque from Newton mm to Newton meter. कसं कन्वर्ट करायचं? तर फक्त त्याला 10 raised to 3 न काय करायचं? डिवाइड करायचं. So whatever the value, if you will get the value in the form of 10 raised to 6, so same value can be written in the form of 10 raised to 3, means by dividing the 10 raised to 3. So try to convert that particular power in Newton meter first, and then that converted value you have to put in the power equation to obtain that particular power in watt or in kilowatt. So take this particular note in your notebook at the top or maybe in front of this particular problem. 67.85. Please check others. 67.85 into 10 raised to 3 watt or 67.85 kilowatt. This will be the power transmitted capacity. So sometimes the strength of the shaft can be calculated by measuring their torque or by measuring their power also. तुमचा शाफ्ट किती टॉर्क ट्रान्समिट करतोय त्याच्यावर पण तुमच्या शाफ्टची स्ट्रेंथ डिसाइड केली जाते, किंवा तो काय शाफ्ट आहे तो किती पॉवर करतोय. बेस्ड ऑन दॅट ऑल्सो द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ शाफ्ट विल बी चेक्ड. मग तो शाफ्ट सॉलिड असू द्या किंवा हॉलो असू द्या, द कंडिशन और the procedure will be same for the solid shaft and the hollow shaft also. Now, third numerical. It is somewhat different than the previous two one. It is somewhat different from the previous two one. Okay, so read the statement. A hollow shaft type of shaft is mentioned in the starting only. Yes, answers are correct. Those who are representing the answers in the chat box, their answers are correct. Torque 3.60 and the power 67.85. Now the next problem, a hollow shaft of 25 mm outer diameter and 20 mm internal diameter. A hollow shaft having 25 mm outer diameter and 20 mm internal diameter subjected to torque of 50 Newton meter subjected to the torque of 15 Newton meter, full stop. Find stresses at outer radius and inner radius, outer diameter and the inner diameter of the shaft. One hollow shaft is there. That hollow shaft is having the external diameter 25 mm, internal diameter 20 mm, and that hollow shaft subjected to the torque of 15 Newton meter, full stop. And we have to find out the stresses. Which type of stresses? The shaft is subjected to only one type of stress. Which one? Shear stress only. The shaft is not subjected to the volumetric stress, tensile stress, compressive stress. So here they have not mentioned a word like a shear, means we have to assume that we have to calculate the shear stresses induced at outer diameter as well as inner diameter also. So given external diameter is represented by DO is equal to 25 mm. Then DI is equal to 20 mm. Torque is given, capital T is equal to 50 Newton meter. It is given in Newton meter only. So I can convert 50 into 10 raised to 3 Newton mm. Because already Newton is present, meter to mm multiply by 10 raised to 3. Then we have to calculate the shear stress at outer radius. That means we have to calculate tau O. It represents the shear stress at outer radius, and we have to calculate the tau I, means shear stress at the inner radius. These parameters we have to calculate. So here, which formula I have to use? Can we use the torsion formula? Look at the torsion formula. We are having T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. This is the torsion formula. Okay, forget about this particular G theta by L. It will not be applicable here because value of G is not mentioned, theta is not mentioned, length of shaft is not mentioned. So forget about this particular third term. Only you have to think about this particular two terms only. What is that? T upon J is equal to tau upon R. The torque will be given for the hollow shaft. J, polar moment of inertia. Diameter of that particular hollow shaft is given. Radius of that particular shaft is given. Only unknown becomes shear stress of that particular shaft. So only I can use the previous two terms only. T upon J is equal to tau upon R. From the torsion formula, by using this particular previous two terms, I can calculate the shear stress at outer diameter and shear stress at the inner diameter. So the first, shear stress at outer diameter DO. So we are having the formula, common formula, T upon J is equal to tau upon R. This is the common formula. If I will write down the same formula for the outer diameter only, T upon JO divided by tau O divided by RO. JO means polar moment of inertia for the outer diameter. Tau O means shear stress for the outer diameter, and RO means the radius of that particular outer diameter. Therefore, T is common for all. Whatever the hollow shaft is there, there is only one torque is applied on that particular shaft. Therefore, 5 into 10 raised to 3 divided by pi by 32 into 25 raised to 4. Polar moment of inertia pi by 32 do raised to 4 is equal to shear stress we have to calculate. RO means 25 divided by 2. Find out the answer and tell me the value. Shear stress induced at the outer diameter only. I am not calculating the shear stress induced in the shaft. Please keep in mind, I am not calculating the total shear stress induced in the shaft. I am calculating the separate shear stress value for the outer diameter. Therefore, their outer parameters are only we have to consider. Similarly, I have to calculate the shear stress at inner diameter only. त्यामुळे फक्त इंटरनलचेच पॅरामीटर आपल्याला काय करायचे कन्सिडर करायचे. Then second step, shear stress at inner diameter, that means di. Again we are having the common formula T upon J is equal to tau upon R. Torque will be same, Ji is equal to tau I divided by Ri. So torque 5 into 10 raised to 3 divided by J means pi by 32 into di. Internal diameter तुम्हाला दिलेला आहे किती 20 raised to 4 is equal to tau I we have to calculate, and Ri means internal diameter तुम्हाला किती दिलेला आहे 20. त्याची रेडियस जर बघितली तर 20 divided by 2 you will get the shear stress at inner diameter also. Tell me the answers now.
सर 5 into 10 raised to 3 च्या जागी 50 into 10 raised to 3 येते ना.
50 sir, 50.
How much torque is given? Yes,
50 into
50. Yes, torque is 50 into 10 raised to 3. Do the calculations properly. We are having the J. J is equal to pi by 32 into do raised to 4 for this, and here J is equal to pi by 32 into find out the separate shear stress for the outer diameter, separate shear stress for the internal diameter. Do the calculations properly. Go for the more and more simplification. Pi by 32 25 raised to 4. Separate value calculate kara. 25 divided by 2 means 12.5, and by rearranging the terms, tell me the value of tau I. Similarly, for the inner diameter also pi by 32 20 raised to 4. Do the separate calculation for it. What is the polar moment of inertia for the outer diameter? Here, I think 38.34 into 10 raised to 3. Please check your answer. Polar moment of inertia for the outer diameter.
Yes sir, बरोबर आहे. Tau O
Yes.
16.30.
Yes. 16.30 Newton per mm square. Please check your answers.
16.29.
Yes, 16.29, 16.30, maybe sometimes you will get the 31. It depends upon the digits you are taking. 16.30 Newton per mm square. This is the shear stress at outer diameter only. This is not total shear stress in the total shaft. Only for the outer diameter.
$12.73 into 10 raised to 3.
How much?
12.73 into 10 raised to 3.
For which?
Tau for inner diameter.
12 point.
12.73.
No sir, 31.84.
Please do the calculation properly. It is near about 31 point something. Yes.
31.84.
No. 31.83 Newton per mm square. Please do the calculations properly. Yes, 31.84 or 83 Newton per mm square. And here also your condition will be satisfied. The stress is minimum where area is maximum. For the outer diameter, always area काय असतो? मॅक्सिमम असतो. जर एरिया मॅक्सिमम असेल तर तिथं स्ट्रेस किती यायला पाहिजे? मिनिमम. म्हणजे काय? 16.32. इंटरनल डायमीटर इथं एरिया काय असतो तुमचा? मिनिमम. And if I will compare both the stresses 16.30 and 31.83, the stress is minimum where area is maximum. Therefore, for the internal diameter, how much it is there? Only 20. So the cross sectional area is less. If the area is minimum, your stress value will be maximum. Therefore, the stress is always maximum at the inner radius. And for the outer diameter, if your diameter is 25 mm, that means you will get the cross sectional area as a maximum, and the area is maximum at that time, your stress is minimum. That means you will get only 16.30 Newton per mm square. जिथे तुमचा एरिया मॅक्सिमम असणार आहे तिथे तुमचा स्ट्रेस काय असणार आहे? कायम मिनिमम असणार. Therefore, that conditions are also satisfied by here. That is, stress is maximum, area is minimum, stress is minimum, area is maximum. Therefore, please keep in mind the shear stress is always minimum at the outer radius and it is maximum at the inner radius. Please check your answer. 16.30 Newton per mm square for the outer diameter, or maybe for the outer radius, and 31.83 Newton per mm square. This is for the inner diameter or the inner radius. Please do the calculations properly. Here the calculation part is very important. What are the important things I have told? You have to please keep in mind during power calculation, the torque should be Newton meter. Yes, have got the answer. Everyone has calculated. Anybody saying having any problem related to this? Therefore, type number 1, it is very simple for the calculation. Only we have to calculate. Sometimes we have to calculate the torque by using the direct formula. We have to calculate the power during power calculation. Sometimes if torque is mentioned in the statement, you can take this particular torque as it is. But if the torque is not mentioned, by using the type of that particular shaft, pi by 16 into tau max into d cube, and pi by 16 into tau max into do raised to 4 minus dr raised to 4 divided by do. By using that particular formula, we have to calculate the torque first, convert that particular torque in a Newton meter. Initially, you will get the torque in Newton mm, convert that particular torque in Newton mm, and then that particular Newton mm value we have to put in the power formula to obtain the power in watt only. And this third problem we have discussed related to the shear stress calculation for the outer diameter and the shear stress calculation for the internal diameter. Have understood? This is the type number 1. Therefore, type number 1, it is very, very simple. Only that 4 to 5 formulas we have to use and we have to go for the calculation. Yes, have understood this particular problems? Anybody having any problem to understand this particular part or today's derivation?
Understood, sir.
Yes. Okay. So with this, today we will stop here. The type number 2, we will start in the next lecture.